started. What has come in supplement? Now I think it has. You are able to see, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, so now in our previous classes, so we have almost discussed about this finite difference method. Okay. So all the important aspects, we have seen actually the last week. So most of them will be same when you do go for other methods also. Okay, so you should remember, like the free surfaces, how you are going to represent, so this free surface, then absorbing boundary conditions, so this one, then we have this viscoelastics. Okay, so viscoelastic material, how do we represent? So we have seen that you can represent in terms of a convolution integral, or you can even represent in terms of a ordinary differential equations. Okay, so sometimes integral will be easy, sometimes differential equation will be easy. So in finite difference, because everything is in difference equations, so we represented even viscoelastic material also, even the absorbing boundary conditions also, everything we represented in terms of differential equations. Okay, so that is an advantage which we have. So sometimes other way around also, it happens if you are doing with some other methods or some type of typical problems. Okay, so these things are going to remain same. Okay, and then even this numerical dispersion also, stability, dispersion, whatever we have seen, so this also is going to remain same. That is, how to do a stability analysis, say, and then dispersion. So most of the methods, all of them will be same, whether you are doing FEM or other kind of methods itself. Okay, so now before going into FEM and others, this is a pseudo spectral method, just we will a brief discussion we will do. Okay, so this is one more numerical technique, not widely used, but people used to follow actually. Okay, there are some publications, some papers are there. Even recently, I think 2004 or 2005 also I saw one paper in Geophysical Journal International. Okay, so where they have used the pseudospectral method to solve the seismic problems. Okay, so this method is very a straightforward kind of a method here. So what they do is, see we are having a partial differential equation. Okay, so in space, and then we have time. So now the derivatives is same. Okay, so what this method says is, so we are having derivatives with time, and then we are having derivatives with space. Okay, so this method, what one generally does is, the derivatives with the time one does by this finite difference method. Okay, so this is widely used. That the central difference, that method is used to represent the time derivative. Now when it comes to the spatial derivatives, so here we use this the orthogonal functions. So the derivatives with respect to space is so you are solving them, you are representing them with respect of in terms of some orthogonal functions itself, and then you solve the problem. Okay, so these how so these orthogonal functions can be the Fourier series. Okay, so or Chebyshev polynomials. Okay, or some legendary polynomial, Lagrange polynomials. You can use a variety of polynomials here itself. So this is a method. It is something like this method is like half finite, half numerical, and half you represent in terms of some type of well-known the basis functions. So this is how the pseudo-spectral method goes. So like for example, if you have this acoustic wave equation, say, So already we wrote, right? So dou square p by dou t square, so which is c square dou square p by dou x square plus our source function. Okay, so this is our acoustic wave equation, or even the one-dimensional wave equation. If you replace p with u and c with some alpha, say, it becomes the same dou square u by dou t square is equal to alpha square dou square u by dou x square. Same wave equation. If you replace with pressure, we call this as a acoustic wave equation. Okay. So anyway, so this equation, if you have, say, so now in this method what we try to do is, so this derivative whatever we are having, okay, so we write it in finite difference. See, like for example, so if you use this and central difference is 2px comma t, so px t minus dt by dt square. Okay, so this is a derivative. So the temporal derivative is represented in finite difference. Now you have this spatial derivative, say. So the spatial derivative, what we do is, we don't use this finite difference or anything like that. So you can use this any orthogonal functions. Okay, so we use this the spectral orthogonal functions to represent these type of methods. So here like for example, if we have a Fourier transform, say, so like for example, all of right, the Fourier transform, previously also we have seen, so if you have any Fourier transform, so this is your Fourier transform of f of x. So if you have any function, say, okay, so the Fourier transform, okay, of some the f of x, okay, so you write as 1 by root of 2 pi, so minus infinity to infinity, so f of x e to the power of minus I kx dx. So this is a Fourier transform. Okay, so this is our f of x. So the Fourier transform is written by this expression, which anyway you would have seen in your other this itself. And if you want f of x, say, you can do a inverse Fourier transform. So this we write like this. Okay, so f of k, so this is 1 root of, so minus infinity to infinity. So we have so f of k e to the power of I kx dx. Okay, so this is our Fourier transform. So now the advantage of Fourier transforms or this orthogonal functions is nothing but to calculate this derivatives. So if I want to calculate a derivative, so d by dx of f of x actual. Okay, so now on f of x anyway is related to this expression. So if you try to find out the derivatives, so d by dx, so 1 by root of 2 pi minus infinity to infinity. So you have f of k e to the power of I kx dx is there. So now the derivative can be taken inside this one, because you can do this, so dk. Okay, so integral is with respect to k, and whereas derivative is with respect to x, so you can interchange them. So this turns out to be 1 by root of 2 pi, so minus infinity to infinity, so I k f of k, say, e to the power of I kx dk. Okay, so sometimes one can also write this as 1 by root of 2 pi, so minus infinity to infinity, say. This can be represented of d of k. Okay, e to the power of I kx dk. So where our d of k, say, is this ik. Okay, the derivative. Now if you want higher derivatives also, you can calculate. Okay, so this so you can, if you want higher derivatives, so this turns out to be into f of k, which is ik whole to the power of n into f of k. Okay, so if you want a second derivative, say d square by dx square, then what happens is ik will come twice, ik square. You followed, right? All kinds of derivatives you can do with this simple expression. So f of n, say, the derivative. Okay, so this will be so f inverse, the inverse Fourier transform of ik whole to the power of n, so capital f of k. Okay, or if you want to write, say, so this is just a Fourier this one, so ik whole to the power of n. So f of k anyway is once again is the Fourier transform of f of x actual. Okay, so this is how we write the derivatives in Fourier transform. So now in our pseudo spectral methods, so what we essentially try to do is we use this type of techniques here. Okay, so like here in this expression we have this derivative, that is this is the second derivative we have. So the second derivative, say, we convert into, we use this Fourier transforms in this technique. So we can write this expression, so px comma t. So this is, so you have this f inverse Fourier transform whole to the power of n, say. So k comma t. So we use these type of expressions. So now this when you are doing it on a computer, say, okay, so we all know, right? So you discretize this into several points, and then so and then you can also find out the derivatives also. So that Nyquist wave number, all those things, pi by dx you followed, right? So we use all those things to calculate this derivatives. Okay. So this is how we try to do in this pseudo spectral method. So sometimes we use Fourier transforms, or sometimes other type of functions itself. So the background of the pseudo spectral method is, so whenever you have any differential equations, say, okay, so the time derivatives are done with finite difference or some Runge-Kutta scheme, you would have studied, okay, in your numerical methods. So the other schemes we use, but the spatial derivatives, say, okay, we use these type of orthogonal functions, Fourier series or something like that. So I have just shown you the Fourier transform. So now let us write in great detail. Okay, so suppose if we are having a function f of x, what to do in our pseudo spectral method is we represent this in terms of some function. So which is written as so I is equal to 0 to n. So we have ai. So this is a coefficient, and these are our orthogonal polynomials. So this is how we represent. So this is phi I of x, say. So we call them as the basis functions. Okay, and the criteria for phi is they should be orthogonal to each other. So okay, so they should form an orthogonal set. So this is the basic the criteria for this pseudo spectral method. Okay, so we represent f of x like this. So now so the advantage here is, if you want to find out the derivative, say, okay, so if I want to find out the derivative, so this will be I should be able to write, so gn of x. So this derivative, it should go in this expression. So I is equal to 0 to n. So ai, okay, so dou x of phi I of x actually. So this is how you can write the derivative. So if you want to find out derivative of the function, say, just simply the derivative of our basis functions should be able to give the derivative itself. So that is a basic the philosophy of expressing f of x in terms of some basis functions. So now if we see our the mathematics literature, say, so there are so many orthogonal functions are there. You followed, so many orthogonal functions are there. Okay, so all of them come from you remember, so that differential equations are there, you remember, right? That Storm Liouville problem, or Grad Smith orthogonal procedure. So many things are there in mathematics. So you can so you have a lot of choices there. Okay, so we have Chebyshev. Okay, so they all come from a Chebyshev differential equation. Okay, Chebyshev polynomials. So these are also all are orthogonal, the polynomials, Lagrange polynomials, So Lagrange is there. Then we have radial basis functions, which is used in in many calculations. Even in neural networks also they use that too. Okay, functions, the Fourier trigonometric functions, say. Okay, the Fourier series, all of them, even the Bessel functions. Okay, so Bessel functions, all of them comes under this basket. So the idea here is very, very simple. So your spatial functions, okay, with the time you do with finite difference method, but in space, say, you represent in terms of some orthogonal functions itself. Okay, that is a criteria in pseudo-spectral method. So like for example, the simplest thing, let us take this one, that is a trigonometric basis functions, say, okay. So if we take this trigonometric basis functions, which are very, very easy functions, okay, to start with. So that is, cos of nx we have, then we have sine nx. So these are the basis functions, okay. So n goes from 0, 1, up to infinity. Of course, here also 1, up to infinity, okay. So the, right, what when n is equal to 0, say, the first one, cos 0 is, what is the value of cos 0? See, when n is equal to 0, say, what will be the basis function?
So cos
Cos
0 is
0,
1, sir.
1. So sin 0 is
0.
0. So
1.
these are what 1?
0.
0 sin 0. Okay, so cos x, cos of 2x, like cos of 3x. So these are the basis functions. Okay, similarly, say, so we have sin x, sin 2x and other things. And what is the property of all these functions, say sine and cos, whether they are orthogonal or not? So how do you
So
prove
they are orthogonal.
so how do we prove that they are orthogonal? So in the interval, how to prove whether they are orthogonal or not? You see, how do we check the functions? Whether they are orthogonal or not. How do you do it in mathematics?
So sine into cos is 0, sir. Sine 0 into cos 0.
Integral of the function.
Be careful, okay? So when you are talking, sine 0, it's not like that, okay? You have to write it specifically. So minus pi to pi, okay? So cos of some jx multiplied by some cos of kx. This value, if it is equal to
It will be 0.
even 0, that means cos x multiplied by cos 2x, okay? If integrates it will be 0, you understand? So when j is equal to k is equal to 0, say all are 0 0 0 0, say what happens? What is cos of 0? Cos 0 is what?
Cos of
When j
0
is
is
0,
1, sir.
1. So what will be the value of this integral?
1,
It is a
sir.
constant. Be careful. What is
Constant.
integral? What is that constant? Minus pi to pi 1 dx. What is the value? This is the integral.
2
You
pi.
followed it.
2 pi,
2
yes,
pi.
sir.
Okay, so be careful. And when j is equal to k, say what is the value? When j is equal to k, so it becomes a cos square, that jx or something. So this will be using the pi. So this is what we call as orthogonal relationship. Okay. Now similarly, say for sinusoid also you can write like this. So sine of g of x. So sine of k of x, say dx. So this also you can verify 0 and pi. Anyway, because when j is equal to k is equal to 0, this turns out to be 0 itself. That's why no need to write this expression. So j is equal to k. So this is what we call as the orthogonal relationship actually. Now sometimes what happens, like for example Chebyshev polynomials, Lagrange polynomials, and many other polynomials, say how do right there you remember their orthogonal relation. See, if you'd have studied that Storm-Liouville boundary value problems, okay, in mathematics. So some functions, what happens is you cannot do simply cos into cos. It doesn't come like that. For some special functions, so they should have some kind of a weight functions also will be there. You remember W of x also, you may have to add actually for special, but trigonometric functions, it's not the case. It is very, very simple and it is straightforward. Okay. So these trigonometric functions, they form an orthogonal set. So you can use it in pseudo-spectral method actually. Okay, so in pseudo-spectral method you can use. So our f of x is say, okay, so we are representing as some gn of x itself. So this can be written as so k is equal to 0 to n ak, yeah, cos of kx plus bk sine of kx. So this we represent the spatial terms itself. And how do we obtain these coefficients? So how to obtain AK and BK? See how do we obtain actually? Okay, so how to obtain this AK, BK, and all other constants? Say okay.
By solving as initial value problems and differentiation.
No. Don't go to initial value and others. Okay, we have not yet come. This is a ordinary mathematical thing. The Fourier expansion. How to write AK and BK?
So differentiation, sir.
Differentiation of what? See, we cannot. How do you represent a Fourier series? See how many terms have to be, for example, if you have this gn, say, okay, if you write it in a proper Fourier series, So if you include that k is equal to 0, then cos 0 will be 1. So you have a naught. You can also write like this: k is equal to 1 to n. So ak cos of kx plus bk sin of kx. This is a Fourier series. The expand. That means we have included k is equal to 0 outside. So anyway, b of 0 will be 0 because sin 0 is 0. So these are Fourier series. Okay. So how do you write what is the expression for ak and bk? So using the orthogonal property. Okay. So we can also write this as 1 by pi. Okay. So minus pi to pi. So your f of x is say, okay, cos of kx dx. So this is how we calculate. Okay. So k is equal to 0 up to n. So this is how we try to solve a Fourier series expansions. So 1 by pi, so minus pi to pi, so f of x. Okay. So sin kx dx. So this is how we calculate in the Fourier series expansion. So if you have any functions where k anyway is a wave number, of course, if you want to write in terms of lambda, you can write also. Okay, where lambda is a wavelength. So these are the coefficients actually. So any Fourier series expansion, if you have any function say, okay, so f of x. So if you want to expand it in a Fourier series, so this is how you write the Fourier series expansions, and this is how you have to find out the coefficients actually. Okay, making use of that orthogonality principle. Okay. So these are how we obtain. We don't solve any initial value problem or anything like that. So sometimes what people does is instead of writing in terms of cos and sin, okay. So you can also write in a compact form because cos and sin are related to exponential. So sometimes what people does is we can also write like this: n e to the power of so this is c. So c of something. So e to the power of ikx also. We also write like this. Okay. So this Fourier series representation, same thing only, but we write in terms of exponential. Sometimes this also we use. And of course, this ck is half of ak minus ibk. Okay, it is a complex coefficient, and c of minus k say is half ak plus I times bk. Okay, so k greater than 0, and of course c naught is half a naught. So we can also write like this. Okay, so writing in terms of this one. So both are same. So this is also a complex Fourier series we write, and that is ordinary Fourier series. So depending on the problem, say you can use this itself. Okay. So now, for example, if you take x square. Okay. So I have a function x square. And so we can, let us say this is x square. So now how do I represent in terms of a Fourier series? X square. So if you plot x square, how does it looks like this, right? So if you want to represent f of x square, say Fourier series, what is that you have to do? Can you represent in terms of Fourier series? X square. X square, can you expand? If you want to expand in terms of Fourier series, how do you represent? So even in your structural dynamics course also, you would have seen, right, how to represent these type of functions. Now, how do you represent f of x square? What type of function is x square? Is it periodic function? See, x square is a periodic function or not periodic function?
Not periodic.
So how do you represent this type of functions using Fourier series? So in dynamics you would have done, right? So how do you represent this type of a function in Fourier series? So I have a function like this. I want to represent using Fourier series, but Fourier series means you have to do periodic thing. How do you represent? What do you do?
We do convolution.
We will
There.
Convolution. What convolution?
we will replicate that proof.
So you will replicate it actually. So what to do? So suppose if I have any function like this, okay, x square, and it is defined up to this interval, say, okay. So what to do if you want to represent Fourier series? So the same function it replicates actually. You remember? So this is how you do it in dynamics. So after this also it replicates like this. Okay. So this way you can convert a periodic function into a periodic function itself. Okay, so this is how we try to do it. So let us say in this problem, we assume that so f of x plus 2 pi times n is same as f of x is same as x square, and x belongs to some 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so up to 0 to 2 pi, after 2 pi say it replicates actually. Okay, so this is the meaning of this expression. Okay, and now you do a Fourier series expansion. Okay, so now this x squares, if you represent in terms of you have to represent in terms of Fourier series. So you calculate a k, b k, and all those terms in Fourier series. Okay, so you calculate all these terms in the Fourier series. So you can write this expression as so gn of x say. Okay, so 4 pi square by 3. So you have to calculate a k and b k. How do you calculate? Using this expression. So this expression you use, you substitute say. So this integral will go from 0 to 2 pi, and f of x is x square. Okay, so x square into cos kx. So you have to evaluate all those integrals. Okay, so finally you can represent this function as so sigma. So k is equal to 1 to n. Okay, so 4 by k square cos of kx minus 4 pi by k sine of kx. Okay, so this is a Fourier series expansion for this simple x square actually. Okay, so now if you try to plot it on a graph, you can plot this function in MATLAB, okay, yourself. So if this is our x square function, if it is like this, okay, so you can plot for variety of n values. Suppose let us say I have used only two functions, say n is equal to 2, so which means I have included terms cos x and then cos 2x, and of course sin x and sin 2x actually. And let us say if I include n is equal to 3, so what is the meaning? So I am including terms up to cos of 3x itself. So n is equal to 4, n is equal to 5, n is equal to if we keep on increasing say. So now what happens is, if you take very few terms, what happens? Suppose if I take n is equal to 1, now what happens? How this will function will look like? So it will not exactly match with the x square. You understand? So now we have to take more number of the functions. So you can plot it in MATLAB varying n from 2 to 8 or 8 or maybe 16 or whatever you can plot. Okay, so if you increase the the polynomials, so sorry, if you increase this number of terms in your Fourier series, so you will get variety. See, suppose for n is equal to some value, say you will get something like this. Okay, I think I am. So suppose if this is my function, so it will be something like this. Okay, so for n is equal to 2, now if increase the terms say, okay, so automatically the oscillations increases and it goes like this. Okay, so it goes something you followed it, wavy kind of a things happens. So this so Fourier series, the main problem is when you are having this type of aperiodic functions. Okay, so it will be exact, it matches exactly with the function, but at the end points say you have a problem actually. Okay, whatever polynomial you use say. Okay, so you can use n is equal to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 terms also. What happens is at the end points it becomes a problem. Okay, generally when you are representing this type of aperiodic functions itself. Okay, now can you represent a Fourier series for this function? See, like for example this function say. So how can you represent in terms of Fourier series these type of functions? So what happens? Now what happens? This type of sudden functions you say. Okay, so how do you represent Fourier series expansion for this? Can you get exact representation? Suppose if you take n is equal to 10,000 actual terms, like cos 10,000 x, sin 10,000 x, whatever you do say. See what happens as you increase the number of the terms, the representation becomes more fine. Okay, so because of more number of terms, but the problem is at the end points, whatever approximation you use, you will have you follow this type of wild oscillation, this discontinuity or something like that. It happens at the end points generally. This is how it happens for these type of functions itself. Okay, so now what to do? So now anyway, this is how the Fourier series representation it goes like this. So now in our numerical solutions, when you want to do for this partial differential equations, so when you try to do for this PDEs, okay, so we try to do like this. So because you will have a wide number of oscillations are there, so we assume that our function f of x, okay, is known only at some set of points, at discrete set of points. Okay, so we know only at some points, we don't know the exact function itself. So it is known at some 2 pi by n times k. So where k runs from 0 up to n. So we know this one. So now you don't have a continuous function, we have a discrete function. So when the things are discrete, say all your integrals and other things becomes a trapezoidal rule you can use. So you can use this summation of, okay, so f of xj and cos of kxj and b stars, say, okay, this is a discrete representation. So this also becomes a 2 by n, j is equal to 1 to n. So we have f of xj sine of kxj. Okay, so this is how the representation goes for n number of points. Okay, so now here so if you write this Fourier series representation, say, okay, so we can write like this. So you can write the Fourier, the polynomial. So now when we try to do this function, so when you are representing a function in a discrete type of a format, so what does, so you say your f of x square, say, okay, so you are not representing as a continuous function, so you know only at some points here, 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 here actually. So when you do this Fourier series representation, say, okay, so if I find out my n such that you followed it, if I can fit a function like this, okay, so now what happens here now? So what's the difference? What happens here? So we know the function f of x at only these points only, at this point, this point, this point, this point, this point only. Okay, so now so you do this Fourier series representation. So here what are we doing here now? See what is happening at these points now. So your Fourier series representation and your function also, say at these points what is happening here, here, here. Now what is happening at this discrete set of points now? See at these points what is happening? So you there. No, they are
changing
exact
direct.
actually.
Exact.
No, changing direction is fine. But what's your Fourier series gn whatever you have got and your the function values exactly they are same actually. Okay.
Same.
So now they are exactly at the same, but in between, you follow, right? You have a lot of error actually. So now anyway, you see, so in our finite element also, you see, we do like this, like in a weak form or whatever we have said. So what we are interested is, of course there will be a it may not exactly match with at the ends, and all these problems are there. But what we try to do in these type of representations is, say, okay, in pseudo spectral, so we have a function which is defined at only discrete points. So we are interested only at this matching at these points itself. So these small errors are there. So we don't you follow it include in our calculations. Okay. So this is how the spectral derivatives also. So this is how we try to do in our pseudo spectral method itself. Okay. So you can use this Fourier series also. So sometimes we use this discrete Fourier transform. So sometimes this is also widely used. Okay, so discrete Fourier transform. So here also instead of Fourier series we use this Fourier transform. So f of k, so we can define as j is equal to 0 to n minus 1. So we have fj. So this is a discrete actually. So minus 2 pi. So jk by n, and of course k runs from 0 up to n minus 1. Similarly, say if you want to back calculate the inverse transform, so 1 by n. So k is equal to 0 to n minus 1. So you have f of this k. So e to the power of I 2 pi jk by n. And of course j runs from 0 up to n minus 1. Okay, so this is how we write our Fourier transforms also. Okay, so you can calculate. See, there are several examples are there. Okay, see, like for example, I have a function, Gauss function, say that normal distribution actually, sigma square x minus x naught square actual. Okay, so this is a function which is like this. So which is a simple function like this. Okay, a normal distribution with a mean value at x naught. Okay, so this you can expand in Fourier series, and then you can see how many terms are required, and you can calculate. Okay, how the good your Fourier series approximation are there. You can try for this type of problems also, and how good is this approximation for the derivatives also. You followed. So what you can do is we have this function, so the derivative of this normal distribution, say, is like this. So minus 2x minus x naught by sigma square e to the power of minus sigma square x minus x naught whole square. So what you can do is, so this function, say, you represent in a Fourier series representation. Okay, so Fourier series or discrete Fourier series. So discrete Fourier series or AK, BK, all of them are same. So you represent this in a Fourier series, this one, and you also represent this function. So it's a derivative also. Once you have represented this in terms of some gn of x, say, in Fourier series, so you can find out the derivative also, like I previously wrote, right, for the the derivative long back. I think we have written here. So the basic philosophy is so this also you can calculate. Okay, so if you want to find out the derivative, say, it is simply the derivative of the basis function itself. So this function, so you can expand, and you can plot also for your understanding. You see how good is the derivative approximation, and how good is this Gauss function approximation also, using our this Fourier transforms. So now so this is how the basic philosophy is like this. Okay, so in pseudo-spectral method, what we are doing is time derivative, you go and find a difference or any whatever numerical method. Now when it comes to the spatial derivative, you use this orthogonal polynomials. But here in orthogonal polynomials or in Fourier series, we have a problem. It may not exactly match with the function itself, so we are not interested. Okay, so that error we are allowing. But at the points, say, wherever your function is defined, it should exactly match with the the function value itself. So that is a key behind this pseudo-spectral method. Okay, so now let us see one this simple this how to represent this acoustic the wave equation. Okay, or this the dispersion and others also. Let us see. So dou square t p. So this is so c square p plus, of course, this is our source function. Okay, so the one-dimensional wave equation. So now if you want to represent in so this, if you want to solve a pseudo-spectral method, so this derivative will be in finite difference. So we write pj n plus 1 minus 2 pj n plus pj, so n minus 1 by using dt square. Okay, so this is a finite difference representation here. So this side says, so cj square dou square x, so p jn, and of course if you want you can include this source term also. So this is a spatial increment, and the superscript is the time increment. Okay, so this indicates sorry, no, so the superscript indicates the time, and this indicates is the space increment. So now in our this pseudo spectral method, so this thing, say, we use our Fourier series or some type of representation here. So this is derivative, so dou square x, so pj of n. So this has to be calculated. So this what we do is we try to do it in a Fourier. You can write as a inverse Fourier transform of ik square. Okay, so pn nu. Okay, so where nu is discrete complex wave number. Okay, it is j will be converted to nu because of this expression. So f inverse, so you can also write this as minus k square, so pn nu actual. So this pn nu, say, so this is a discrete complex wave number spectrum. Okay, so this is a wave number spectrum at time m. Okay, so this is how we write this derivative here also. So now if you see that Eigel's textbook, he has given a small Python code also, okay, to solve this problem where the source function is a Gauss function, and he has given also. Okay, so you people can I think you can see page number 129 say. Okay, so you can represent. Okay, so that figure I think 5.1, he has shown the solution also. So the same equation say, if you solve by the finite difference method, what he gets, and if it solves by the Fourier this method say, what he gets. And he has given he has taken, I think, the highest frequency 60 hertz, and he has solved this problem itself. So you can just see this expression. Okay, the same example whatever he has done, you can easily find out actually. Okay, and now, so if you want to check the stability, convergence, and then this dispersion, essentially dispersion. Now, so how do you check dispersion and stability? So if you want to check stability of any scheme, so what is that you have to do? No, previously what did we do? See, how do you verify the stability of these equations? How do I check?
So stability is by roots, sir.
Root means what is
whether
the
it is
process step?
converging.
Stability, dispersion, both of them are interlinked to one another. So how did we check previously? Whenever you had any OD or any schemes, how to check? What is the starting point? What is that you have to substitute?
So first we take e raised to I omega t.
Fine. So this is what you have to do. Okay. So e to the power of I. So some kj dx minus some omega n into delta t. Okay, so this is how we have to take the first thing. So dou square, so it's a derivative, so pjn with respect to x square, so minus k square, so e to the power of I kj dx minus omega n into dt. So this is a spatial derivative. So now you represent this in the time derivative also. So we have dou square pjn by dou t square. Okay, so now here what happens is this time derivative. See, now in the time derivative we are representing in a, this is a finite difference format. Okay, so now what you have to do, you have to represent pjn, so this will be n plus 1, you have to substitute. So e into I into that kj dx minus omega into n plus 1 into dt, then this will be the same expression, this will be n minus 1. So you will get last in the finite difference, we have already calculated this expression itself. So this expression turns out to be, using in the finite difference scheme, so this turns out to be minus 4 by the dt square. So minus 4 by dt square, so sine square omega dt by 2. So we have e to the power of I k j dx minus omega n into dt. Okay, so this is how we write. So this is derivative. So now we substitute, say, so this derivative in the equation whatever we wrote previously, and then you right hand side you put this one. So the phase velocity, say, so this becomes omega by k, so 2 by k times dt, so sine inverse. Okay, so k c dt by 2. So this is how we get our the phase velocity curve itself, where c anyway is the exact phase velocity, or the analytical the phase velocity. See, what is the difference between this and the finite difference equation? So in finite difference, how the dispersion curve was looking like. So you remember previous classes we have solved. So in finite difference, what was the difference between here and here? In the finite difference, what used to happen was, this also we used to write in terms of central difference. You remember the staggered grid and other things we discussed. So here you have to, so you will have two sine terms will be there. One sine term will be with respect to omega. So what happens is, if you have expanded this also in terms of finite difference, this derivative also, so what happens, this derivative if you write it in finite difference, so this expression also will be more or less similar to this expression itself, but instead of omega dt, say, you will be having k into dx by 2, like that we used to get. But now in our pseudo spectral method, say, what we are using is, so e to the power of ikx is nothing but what is this expression? Now what is e to the power of ikx? So this is exactly same as a discrete Fourier transform. You see here, so we are representing our function directly in terms of this, the Fourier series itself. That is a plane wave solution. So that's why, the derivatives becomes, easy. Simply it becomes, minus k square into, e to the power of I into same function will come. But whereas a time derivative, since you are doing it in a finite difference format, so this derivative will be different. Suppose in the time derivative also you represent in terms of orthogonal polynomials, say. So then what happens? So instead of 4 by dt square sine square, you will get this expression on simply minus omega square into, e to the power of the same thing will come. And of course, C will be exactly, your C itself. But since this is in a finite difference format, so this we write like this. So this is how, we write for a pseudo spectral method. So this the derivative becomes very easy. Simply it becomes minus k squared. So that is a more important thing in the pseudo spectral method. So now here you can see, so when dt becomes very small, say, what happens to this method? Now what happens? See, when the dt becomes small, say, what is your sine square, this expression, say. So when this sine square theta, okay, so this kc dt by 2. So when dt becomes very small, so you can replace this with simply, kc into dt by 2 itself. So when you substitute kc into dt by 2 here, so what happens? K dt 2 gets cancelled. Our c of k will be exactly c itself, actually. So what does it tells you? So when your dt is very small, say, your phase velocity will be exactly same as this itself, actually. Okay, so it doesn't make the sense it's this unstable or this dispersion itself as a dt goes to 0 itself. Now another thing is, so if we try to plot this graph, okay, so we have number of grid points per wavelength. Points per wavelength. So here we have k. Okay, so this, let us say k is some k max. We have gone up to k max, and right, in the Fourier series expansion. So if your function, if we have discretized it into you remember, so you have a function f of x. Okay, so you have discretized this into this is a point, to say, and let us say each point is defined at dx. What is you remember the highest the wave number, or for example if you try to see in the time domain. Okay, so if you have any time function of time acceleration time history you are having, say, and dt is some 0.01 seconds. What is the highest frequency present in the signal? A Nyquist frequency present in the signal. What is the Nyquist frequency? So if you have any time
1 by
history,
250
dt
hertz.
1 by 2 delta t you write, actually. Okay, so of course you can write as 1 by 2 delta t, or sometimes what happens is omega you convert into f into the omega, say omega is equal to 2 pi f we write. So if you write this expression, so 2 gets cancelled, and you can write in terms of radians per second also. It will be simply pi by delta t itself. Now similarly, what we are doing is a function that is in spatial function. We are representing at these points, and the spacing is dx. What will be kmax? Using the same analogy, say, so you have an acceleration time history, dt is 0.01. So the highest frequency present in the signal in radians per second is pi by dt, actual. So what will be kmax here? And the spacing is dx. Same analogy you use. What will be the highest wave number?
Pi by dx.
That's all. You followed at pi by dx itself. So since we are representing the function f of x as a discrete number of points, so these highest k max present in the signal itself. So here the criteria is, so you have your k max, say, because of stability, so c into dt by 2, which comes inside our sinusoidal term. So this term, actually, whatever we are talking, so this should be, if you want it to be bounded, so it should be less than or equal to 1. So these are stability criteria. So if you want k max, you substitute pi by dx here. So you can write this epsilon or whatever this term, so pi by this one. So c into dt by dx. So which is 2 by 5, and this is some I followed at 0.64 actually. So now if you try to plot, say, this phase velocity curve, so one can say with very few points, 5, 10, 15, you would have plotted for all the figures previously and find a difference. So the pseudo spectral method, say, this is exact an analytical phase velocity, let us say it is a 2 kilometer per second, say, okay. So with a very, it automatically you followed, right? There is no chance of dispersion actually, okay. With the very few points itself, you will get excellent, this problem. So our, this epsilon, you can, vary this ratio. You can plot this graph, okay. It is in Eigel's book on computational seismology. So in page number 136, so he has given this graph, okay. You people can plot it that in our MATLAB for variety of epsilon values. So which shows that, the numerical dispersion, it is the pseudo spectral method is much superior to finite difference method, okay, in terms of dispersion. The reason is why it is why it is much more powerful than the finite difference method. The reason is, what's the main reason? See, pseudo spectral method dispersions, are very less compared to finite difference, okay. Now what is the reason? Just now we told it. What is the reason why pseudo spectral method dispersion is not there, are very less compared to finite difference? See, what is the reason? So the spatial derivative, how we are representing?
The orthogonal basis functions we are using, that's why.
So orthogonal basis functions is one thing, but the main advantage is, since you have used a Fourier representation, say, so your derivatives are almost, exact. You understand? They're exact, up to the points. So in Fourier, this orthogonal functions, what we have done is, since you have represented in a Fourier series kind of a thing, so the function and its derivatives, they are all exact. They look completely exact at the points. Okay, so wherever we have discretized, say, at all these points, they exactly match with the this. So this creates the dispersion problems, very little in pseudo spectral methods. Okay, so this is some advantage it has, but the disadvantage is at the points it matches, but in between it will have wild the oscillations. So this is a problem in the pseudo spectral. So now if we take in 2 dimensions, okay, so just 2 dimensions, that means dou square p by dou t square is equal to some c square we have. So dou square p by dou x square plus dou square p by dou z square. Okay, of course you have the source function, or you can delete also. Okay, so now if you want to find out the stability or the dispersion criteria, say, okay, so this will represent in a finite difference framework. So Pn plus 1 j comma k minus 2Pn j comma k plus Pn minus 1. This is a time derivative, okay, by using dt square. So this is how we are writing in the finite difference. Now this quantity we write in our Fourier the transform. So dou square p by dou x square plus dou square p by dou y square, so dou square z square. So this will be, so you have this for inverse Fourier transform of kx square of p, okay, plus we have another Fourier transform, inverse Fourier transform of kz square into the Fourier transform of this pressure. Okay, so this is how we see we write our this expression also. So now so these are nothing but discrete Fourier transforms. Because we are defining in space also some discrete points. Okay, so these are how the discrete Fourier transforms. So now here, so you can calculate our stability. Here also you can find out the stability or something. So here if you want to understand stability, so now you have to substitute j comma k. So say I into kx. Now, so j into dx plus kz, some k into dx. Minus omega n into dt. Okay, so this is how you have to substitute in all the derivatives. So here the advantage is because you are using a discrete Fourier transform set. Okay, so pj comma kn. So these derivatives are very easy to compute actually. So k square So e to the power, of course, this derivative. So I e to the power of I into kx. So j into dx plus kz k into dx minus omega in dt. Okay. Now similarly say, so our this is a derivative also, z derivative. Okay. So this becomes simply kz square. So e to the power of I into kx into j dx plus kz say k into dx minus omega n into dt. So the advantage here is in the pseudo spectral method. So here spatial derivatives you are representing through a discrete Fourier transform, and the discrete Fourier transform is exactly same as your plane wave solution itself. You remember? So the basis functions are this one only, like discrete Fourier transform. The basis function is e to the power of ikx only. Okay. So because it is same to same, it is exact actually. So that's why you can calculate this expression, but the time derivative, since you are representing it in a the Fourier this finite difference method say. So this comes from the finite difference method which we did previously. So minus 4 by dt square. So sine square so omega dt by 2. Okay, and you have e to the power of I into kx j dx plus kz k into dx minus omega n into dt. Okay, so this comes because of the finite difference. You followed. So this problem comes with a finite difference, but whereas here the basis functions and your plane wave solutions, so both are exactly same to same. That's why you see we have got just kx square and then you see kz square. So if you try to find out the phase velocities, so this problem you substitute in the our differential equation, substitute in the that finite difference that PDE. So you will get our phase velocity. So this becomes omega by k here. So we can write as 2 by k times dt. So sine inverse. Okay. So c dt root of kx square plus kz square by 2. Okay, so this is how the phase velocity comes in 2 dimensions. And if you compare this with the finite difference formulation say, so one can see that it is much more it is more exact actually. Okay, compared to finite difference. So in the pseudo spectral methods, so the problem of the dispersion and other things are not that serious when compared to the finite difference or other numerical schemes itself. Okay, so this is the most the important thing. Okay, so now you can try this. Just 1 second. Hello. Sir, na class lo So this way, you can calculate, you see, dispersion stability, for our this pseudo spectral method also. So now in a similar fashion, you can try for our wave equations. Okay. So if you see this wave equations, say, okay. So rho of x to dou square u x comma t by dou t square. So dou, if you want, you can put inside also this mu of x by dou x. Okay, so this is our body force. If you want, you can include, otherwise it can be thrown out actually. So the finite difference portion say, so the first step, so rho of I, so uy j plus 1 minus 2 uy j plus uy j minus 1. Okay, so by dt square. Okay, so this is how we represent the time derivative. And now the spatial derivative say. Okay, so this entire expression, so we represent at I and j. Okay, plus we have this f of I and then j. So we can write this in terms of, so this entire portion say, so we write in terms of the pseudo spectral, that the Fourier discrete Fourier series or discrete Fourier transform. And all their derivatives will be, you can, so dou x of this expression say. So u, I, j, okay, so all the derivatives will be like this. So inverse Fourier transform minus ik capital U j nu. Okay, so these are complex discrete Fourier transform itself, and similarly say, okay, so you have this dou x mu of x. You can write in terms of this. So sometimes the tilde also they use here. So this you can write here. So this quantity is here. So this is it is in the spectral domain. Okay, so you can solve this type of equations and then solve your problem itself. So here the main idea is, so if you want to solve by this discrete Fourier, these are pseudo spectral methods. So first you have to discretize your space and then time. Okay, so now spatial domain, time domain, anyway you are using our finite difference formulation. Now in space what to do is, whatever let us say you are simulating wave from 0 to 100 kilometers, let us say for example, and you are having, if it is a 2D problem, say, okay, so let us say 100 kilometer here and 100 kilometer this side also. So the first step what you have to do is, you have to discretize your domain into several the points. So you discretize this, let us say in space domain, you have at 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer this way. Here also you have these things. So this thing you can decide based on your as I told you, pi by dx. Then if you have kx and kz, say, so this becomes a pi by dz. So this discretization you have to do here itself. So once you have discretized this domains f of x or whatever this expression, so what to do is, you use your discrete Fourier transform. So you know the function value at all these places, say. So what to do is, you go back, so your discrete Fourier transform, that expression you use here, so you substitute in these equations and then you solve the problem. Okay, like in a time marching scheme or something like that, same as how we did in our finite difference method itself. So and then, so this is how the function is defined here. So its derivatives will be simply k square ik. So you have to multiply by this. So you will get your derivatives also. So you will get one big the equation will be there. Okay, in terms of numerical things will come. So once you apply the force, you have to do it in a time marching scheme, and then you get the solution. Okay, so this way you have to do it in pseudo spectral method. And the main advantage of pseudo spectral methods is it is dispersion, stability. These problems will be not be there, because you have discretized the region, and at all these points your function and its derivatives, they match exactly with the analytical thing itself, but in between you are allowing for some kind of an error itself. So this is the background is behind this the pseudo spectral method. But one thing, the main problem is, if we are using the basis functions, so we have used the cos and sine. Okay, so cos and sine, as already I told you, the problem is the endpoints. If you have these type of functions, so here they may not match nicely with the the exact one. But at the ends, you have a problem with this sine and cos functions. So sometimes what people does is we use variety of polynomials also. See, like one polynomial which is widely used is this Chebyshev polynomial. So Chebyshev collocation method, if you see in numerical solutions, you will see, okay, there are variety of this Chebyshev polynomials. I hope all of you know this Chebyshev, the polynomial itself. So the Chebyshev polynomial, say, so it comes from the Chebyshev differential equation here. It is defined as like this, so cos of n phi. Okay, so we write like this. So Tn times cos of phi, so which is a Tn of x, we write like this, and x is equal to cos phi, and x belongs to minus 1 to 1. So now, so this is what Tn is what we call as nth order polynomial. So they are defined like this Chebyshev polynomials. So T naught of x is the first polynomial. This is a 1. Okay. So T1, this is x. Then T2, this is 2x square minus 1. Then T3. So this is 4x cubed minus 3x, and T4. Okay. 8x to the power of 4 minus 8x square minus 1. So like this, you can generate all kinds of this Chebyshev polynomials. So you can plot the Chebyshev polynomials in MATLAB. So you can see the first 0th order polynomial is basically constant, actually it's 1. Whereas T1 of x is, it is a straight line here. Then T2 of x is it is basically a quadratic kind of a thing which you have. And then T3 of x, a cubic, then automatically the higher order polynomials, you will have variety followed, right? So variety oscillations also will be there, many variety kind of polynomials will come. These are all orthogonal polynomials, and there is a recursive relations also are there for this Chebyshev. So Tn plus 1 x is you can write as 2x Tn of x. From the lower order polynomial, you can generate a higher order Chebyshev polynomial. Okay, so you can do like this also, and I think you can find out its derivatives, and it seems very easy. Okay, with using this Chebyshev polynomials. So if you have f of x, say, so you can represent in terms of Gn of x. So half c naught t naught of x plus k is equal to 1 to n. So ck tk of x. So this is how we write our Chebyshev polynomial expansion, where the coefficients is so ck. So this will be 2 by pi, same as our Fourier series, so minus 1 to 1. So f of x, so tk of x. But only thing is, this sinusoids and cos, so the weightage functions will not be there for the orthogonality. But for Chebyshev we have, so dx by root of 1 minus x square. So this is a weight function. Okay, then only the orthogonality principle comes into picture. So 0, 1, 2, and this ck, if you substitute x is equal to cos phi, so our ck, say, this becomes 1 by pi minus pi to pi. So f of cos phi, so cos of k pi d phi. You can also write like this. So this weight function vanishes. Okay. So if you write directly in terms of this expression. So this is how the coefficients comes for this Chebyshev polynomial. Okay. So anyway, so I will stop here. We will continue in our next class about this Chebyshev. See what I suggest to all of you is for the pseudo-spectral methods. Okay, so I will suggest you another textbook. I will send it to you in the WhatsApp itself. But as already the pseudo-spectral method, it is not so important actually. Okay, it is not widely used in only in olden days people used to do. But it is something like in space you are doing a closed form solution, but in time domain you are going through this finite difference solution. So previously people used to do, but right now we don't use this pseudo spectral method. Only very few people are working in this area. So I will just send you one. So not many textbooks are there in the pseudo spectral. Maybe 1 or 2 simple books are there, but we will not be discussing in great detail in this course. But these concepts we will use for our spectral element, which we will discuss after some point of time itself. So I suggest you this Heiner-Eagle's computation seismology, right? The textbook you can use, and in his textbooks he has given Python codes for this acoustic wave equation. He has given some small codes he has written. So what you can do is you can you can just write the same thing in MATLAB or Python. You just reproduce whatever the graphs, whatever he has given in his textbook. That is the stability, dispersion, the solutions he has given. Then even the Fourier series expansion. See, for x square we wrote, right? So you plot, then you will understand, okay, what is happening at the end points, So you can this also. See, like if you're having a triangular function, say this type of functions, okay, step function. So you can expand this in terms of Fourier series. So you can find out that whatever higher order has increased order, say. So automatically at this place, you will not be able to exactly match with the exact value. So this we call as Gibbs phenomenon. Okay. So there are several things out there. So you can just plot some of these graphs for your understanding in a better fashion. Okay. So I will stop here. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. No. So no questions. See, another thing is now we have completed our finite difference, right? So